This meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave, on the Township website, and posted on the bulletin boards at Township Hall. Anyone wishing to address council, please wait for the deputy mayor to recognize you. Please state your name and address for the record, and remember that all comments must be kept to 3 minutes or less.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad?
Here.
Councilmember Coombs?
Here.
Councilmember Roy?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Here.
Mayor Sippel?
Here.
Okay, we have nothing on the schedule for the work session here, so we'll go on to the consent agenda. Does any member of council have any questions or comments on the consent agenda?
No.
Comment.
Okay, no comments from council, then we'll close comments for council and open it to the public. Does anyone in the public have any comments on the consent agenda? Hearing none, public comments are closed.
Approval of the minutes from March 1, 2021. Resolutions number 2021-104 through 2021-120. Ordinance number 2021-04, an ordinance amending Chapter 600, towing and storage area requirements, specifically subsection 5E4, towing and storage requirements, performance standards of the Code of the Township of Lower. Ordinance 2021-05, an ordinance of the Township of Lower, amending Chapter 157, alcoholic beverages, subsection 157, 6D1 of the Code of the Township of Lower. Ordinance 2021-06, an ordinance amending Chapter 432, mercantile licenses, specifically subsection 4, annual fees for mercantile licenses of the Code of the Township of Lower to modify existing annual licensing and registration fees. Ordinance 2021-07, an ordinance amending Chapter 570, solid waste, specifically subsection 15, scrapping of the Code of the Township of Lower to modify annual licensing and requirement fees. And ordinance number 2021-08, an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 575, stormwater management of the Code of the Township of Lower. This is the first reading of ordinances 2021-04, 05, 06, 07, and 08. The second reading and public hearing has been scheduled for April 5th, 2021.
Have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Okay, what I'd like to do is move on down to the other resolutions on the agenda so we can finish this important work that we have tonight. I offer a motion to table Resolution 2021-121.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
So we'll move to Resolution 2021-122, a resolution ratifying a 4-year agreement between the Township of Lower and the Lower Township Office Workers Association, Local 3779, AFSCME, District Council 63.
Motion?
Any comments?
Any comments from council?
No.
No.
Council, any comments from the public?
I'm sorry?
This is on resolution,
You ran through the first ones, and I got here a little bit late. The bridge, you know all about it.
consent, sir,
Okay.
Sir.
and,
sir,
I didn't,
excuse me. We are on resolution 2021-122. We can come back up for public comments.
for the other resolutions, I have a comment.
We've already passed them.
I didn't hear you ask for a comment on the resolutions.
Evidently, we did before you came in.
I
Yes,
mean, you asked for comments before I got here?
yes.
Okay, I'll bring them up at public comment. Thank
All
you.
right. Any public comments on Resolution 2021-122? Hearing no comments from the public, comments are closed.
I need a motion.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Coon?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Sippel.
Yes.
Resolution number 2021-123. A resolution ratifying a 4-year agreement between the Township of Lower and Lower Township Recreation Aids, Local 3779B, AFSCME, District Council 63.
Any comments from council on this resolution?
No.
No.
No comments. No.
Any comments from the public on Resolution 2021-123? Hearing no comments, comments are closed from the public. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Coon?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Sippel.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we move to the manager's report.
Hello, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and Council. I have a few things I wanted to discuss tonight. First of all, the situation we have with the beach erosion along the Delaware Bay. As we all know, this year with the storms we've endured a significant amount of beach erosion this past winter. And this evening, Council approved an emergency contract to hire a company to address the erosion in North Cape May area. The project will entail heavy equipment along the beachfront to restore 25 to 30 feet along each side of each pathway as well as in front of the pathway. And the pathways themselves will be worked on by the recreation staff and public works staff as well to restore some of the erosion that happened on the actual beach paths and to move some of the sand at the top of the dune as well. Not at the dune, at the top of the pathway where the concrete is. So that's something that they're working on simultaneously with the construction company doing some of the heavy lift on the beach. Also, Public Works, talking about beach pathways, have been working diligently the past couple of weeks. They started in North Phyllis, and they're working their way south to restore, replace, and improve some of the beach pathways along the Delaware Bay. And once they're completed, the ones that have non-existing beach paths, they'll go back and try and widen some of the beach paths that are existing to help with pedestrian circulation on those beach paths as well. Another thing that I wanted to discuss is some of the flooding issues that we have in Lower Township. Last week I met with the Township engineer, and we went to a few of the locations where we have continual flooding. We met with a couple of the residents in those areas as well, because we were out surveying the problem that we have. And our engineer is going to compile a report, a list of things that can be included in that report, and then we're going to develop a prioritized action plan to address these issues, as well as hopefully identifying some potential funding sources in the very near future. Also, again, the Clem Mulligan Sports Complex, I know we discussed this in the past meeting or two. This week, the bid will be advertised for construction, the construction element of the project. And as stated in the past, the funding for the project is a combination of several different funding sources. The major lift in that one is the Cape May County Open Space Program with a nice sizable donation or award to help with the project, the Small Cities Grant, and then Lower Township is also putting in money out of their capital budget as well. The total of that project is $2,236,000. We hope to start the construction of that project sometime in the middle towards the end of April, and it'll continue throughout the summer till completion. We also met I also met with the DRBA administration, Park and Rec administration to discuss the summer concert series on the green at the Cape May Lewis Ferry Terminal. I know that the Recreation Department had identified the bands that they would hire for that. I mean, of course, that's all pending on more outside activities and larger crowds in the coming months. Hopefully with the vaccination for the COVID virus being more available to residents, hopefully the state would open up to more outside activities prior to the summer start. And we also discussed the completion of the beachfront pathway from Lincoln Boulevard to Douglas Park. I know they have a plan to do something there to extend that pathway into Douglas Park, and we're hoping that we can entice them to do a similar type of project that Lower Township did along the beachfront in North Cape May. Maybe a little bit different than that. You guys did a great job on that project. Two other things I want to talk about basically is the Philly Mill Road project that was closed for a few days. There was a collapsed sewer main on Philly Mill Road. The MUA had repaired that already. It was repaired as of Sunday, I believe, and today they did a rough coat paving. They will not do final paving probably for a good 2 months to allow settlement in that area, and then they'll come back in a couple of months and repave the whole area, final paving. Of course, the Bay Shore Road problem we have, Cape May County, of course, discovered a sinkhole at the north end of Villas leading into Delhaven at Fishing Creek. So they're in the process now of repairing that. That should take another at least 2 weeks. They've been doing that for about a week now. They estimated that fix to be about 2 or 3 weeks, so hopefully they won't have any delays in that. And but for now, Bay Shore Road is closed right after the Millman Center, all the way to the other side of the Fishing Creek that dumps into the bay. Does anyone have any questions on any of the things I covered?
No. Thank you for getting right on the beachfront project there with the major erosion that we had with the big nor'easter that had come through. And we got to act fast because I know we have a small window to be able to work on the beach. So
We're putting together a committee of folks here that work to try and identify some grant funding, hopefully to come up with a plan to restore the beach every winter, because as we have these storms, this will continue to happen. So we have to come up with a more permanent solution there, aside from the one we're doing right now as an emergency fix. Thanks.
very good.
Deputy
Thank you.
Mayor.
I have a question because some of the people walked in when you were talking about the engineers. Evergreen, that Evergreen is one of the areas that the engineers are going to be looking at for flooding, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
I have
Yeah.
a question about Jonathan Hoffman Park, because that was brought up at committee, right?
Yes.
What's the progress of that? Is that near?
They just started work on that this week again. We gave them a timeline because of the weather, and they have to put that rubber substrate down around the playground. They couldn't do that in any cold weather, so they're waiting for a good weather window. So we gave them an extension to finish that project. They're supposed to start that this week, and it should probably only take a couple weeks till they finish that.
Okay.
And then they'll do the landscaping element in that area. So I anticipate that should be finished within the next month or so, as long as they don't have no weather delays.
Of course.
Okay, very good. Moving on. Engineers report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The first project I want to talk about is the new Public Works Building. As you know, this project was surveyed and we started preliminary design. We paused this project because the township is looking into designing a larger building for this area to accommodate more of the Public Works needs. The second project is the resurfacing of States Avenue. The low bidder, South State, has completed all the storm sewer improvements, and they're waiting for the weather to warm up a little bit. They're looking to do the final paving there in about a month. Third project is the reconstruction of Wilson Drive. The township was notified by the NJDOT that they received a grant for $180,000. Survey of this project was completed, and we're currently in the design phase of this. We attended a teleconference with South Jersey Gas and Gary Douglas of the Public Works on March 5th. It looks like South Jersey Gas is doing a larger gas main project there in the fall. So we're going to coordinate our construction with them and make sure that they're in there doing their work and get done, and then we can go in there and do our work and then do the paving. The fourth project is the resurfacing of Miami Avenue, Florida, Jacksonville, Tampa, and Elks Lodge Alley. This bid opening was on February 24th. The apparent low bidder was Asphalt Paving Systems for $458,600. This price is below the engineer's estimate, so we're happy with this result. The other three projects, we sent over proposals to the township, and they were approved tonight. The first one is a new park at Diamond Beach. This new park is for a new playground equipment, a possible pickleball court, a single-use bathroom, some shade structures, and more ADA access. The next project is the Seaview Avenue drainage improvements. We've been in contact with the Fish and Wildlife to see what they require to approve our work there. So we were just approved to survey and do some preliminary design on this work. Next project is an NJDP CAFR permit. This permit will include renewal of the beach maintenance permit, as well as permission to install a permanent bathroom structure on Beach Drive at the end of Lincoln Boulevard. The current permit right now allows for a temporary bathroom there. We want to build a more permanent structure that's there year-round. And that concludes my report. Any questions about any of those projects?
Any questions?
No.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, thank you. Okay, administrative reports, call to the public.
Jim Sanford, Diamond Beach, president of the Diamond Beach Citizen Action Group. I have a couple of, sorry I got here a little bit late. I got tied up at the bridge. You know how that is. The resolution 2021-13 about the contract that you're awarding to the Granicus, is that the name of it? What prompted that?
What prompted that is the amount of short-term rentals that we have here in Lower Township is significant. And we want to make sure that the folks that are doing business here in Lower Township have the proper licensing to do so, and a lot of them do not. So we're going to identify those to see that they're in compliance. Part of that group that would come here and help us identify those properties with the owners and the locations, they would also give us a snapshot of what they're offering, whether it's a two-bedroom cottage or a five-bedroom home on the beach. And our mercantile fees are adjusted accordingly on the size of the occupancy of those particular shore houses, so to speak, those rentals.
Okay. I'm assuming that you did some type of survey in regards to which sections of the town this impacts the most.
It's all over the town.
It's all over.
It's all over the town in North Cape May, Villas, some in Diamond Beach, Irma. They're located everywhere in Lower Township. Anywhere that's close to the water, people that don't live here are glad to rent those places. And we just want to...
Now, let's say I'm in Diamond Beach, and I am a resident, but I'm not a resident, and I want to rent to my family. They want to come down and use my beach house for a couple of weeks, and I say, hey, you know what? Just throw me $500 for a couple of weeks. Does that qualify?
If you're charging a fee, you're doing business in Lower Township, you'll have to get a mercantile license,
Okay.
okay?
So,
Whether you rent that place for 1 week or for the entire summer.
okay, so then there's no exemptions to shore house rentals being family, friends, or anything along that lines? Or,
If you're charging a fee, then you're going to have to pay the mercantile fee.
all right, now, I'm just curious. How does this company, I'm assuming you have you've interviewed them in regards to, how are they going to go out and find these people?
They've already done an estimate of the amount of folks that have rentals in Lower Township, and now they'll identify it, and then they'll see who's in compliance, and let us know that, and then we'll be able to notify them that they have to get a mercantile license to do business in Lower Township.
Now, I understand the fee right now for a violation is $500.
No, that's not true.
What is?
Violation,
What
it could
would
be, depending on, I'd have to look, Mr. Sanford, I'm not exactly sure. I thought you meant a late fee if you didn't file previously.
No, I mean, if you're, let's say, renting and you don't get a license.
You may be referring to the Bureau of Fire Safety to fire inspection? Is that what you're referring to? Yeah, it's a minimum fine of $500 if you rent when you don't have your fire inspection.
So somewhere along
That's
the line,
correct.
there is $500 fee. Maybe not for violating the mercantile, but for violating,
The fire code.
Fire code.
right. My next question, it sort of ties into the ordinance regarding the changing of the structure for what you're going to charge. From what I understand, would cost me $175.
No.
Plus, I have to spend another $125.
Mr. Stanford, interrupt you one minute. Number one, you're over your lot of time, but more importantly, the questions that you're asking, if you got a hold of Mr. Laffey during the week, he can sit down with you and go over the whole thing.
Well, the point that I'm trying to make here is that I have a lot of people in Diamond Beach that can't make it here. And they text messaged me, and when they saw these ordinances and stuff, and they said they had questions. So I'm not up here.
No, but what I'm saying is,
Sanford for
what I'm-
3 minutes.
what I'm saying is-
Entertaining a group of
what
people.
I'm saying is you can come talk to Mr. Laffey during the week and sit down, and you go over the entire ordinance and answer all your questions.
Oh, no, I agree with you. That would
Deputy
be a
Mayor.
good idea.
Okay.
But wait a minute.
Deputy Mayor,
What I
if I
want to bring
could,
forth to the council.
Mr. Sanford, if I could, any of the people that are calling you with questions, feel free. I'm online on our website. I have an open door for anyone to ask me any questions about any of these ordinances, and
Oh, I
I
agree
would
with you.
ask that. But they're all calling you. I would be glad if they called me. I would answer their questions in 1 minute. It might take me a little longer than that, but I hope that I can answer the questions that they have.
Well, what I want to put out, to the council, for the council to consider. So therefore, it's not just a question that I want to put to you, it's a question that I want the council to be made aware of, such as, if I can continue,
Very briefly.
pardon?
Very briefly.
Well, like I said, I have a couple other items.
That's what I'm saying.
The
You-
EMS, the
we-
drains, all of that
Sir,
stuff that
you know what
we
the-
have questions about.
A lot of the questions that you ask, Mr. Laffey can answer during the week, and that you can give to your people. Mr. Laffey knows that all of council's aware of it.
No, Mr. Laffey and I have had extensive conversations.
Well, then there you go.
That's an end.
So please move on to your next topic,
Yeah.
so we can continue on. There's other people here that want to talk tonight, too.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
if anybody else wants to talk, I'll sit.
No, we're not going to stay here all night, Mr. Sanford. We're not doing
I'm
that.
trying to be accommodating.
No.
No, what I wanted to.
Move along, please.
Was, in
Sir,
regards to the ordinance.
Move along, please.
What?
Move along, please, with your other topics.
I'm moving it. Well, that was about
Okay.
the mercantile license.
All right.
Now I want to talk about the ordinance. The ordinance itself says that, what we have to pay, which
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem. I rent, I'll pay, no big deal, I'll have my inspections, I'm more than willing to comply. But the issue is that if you take a hotel or a motel, and if I'm in Wildwood Crest and I own a hotel that has 100 rooms, Wildwood Crest, as well as Wildwood and the other apartments, I'm just giving you guys an idea. If you're looking to make legal income for the township, okay, because you guys have expenses, is that they charge like $20 per sleeping room for each unit. So what does that mean? That means if I have a hotel that has 100 rooms,
So we already did our homework on this.
What?
We understand. We checked the other municipalities
you're
within the
charging
county.
$4 a room.
We are-
And we're paying $175 for $4 per unit, and we're paying $175 per unit.
Right.
So what I want to try to do is I want to present to the council that they could balance this out by, number one, the hotel and motel units can turn around and pass that fee on to the clients. It's only a one-time $20 per sleeping room for the year.
Okay, all right.
So, well, let me finish, is that if
Sir.
I rent out for
Sir, we already went through this.
10 weeks, I make 27 grand. If they rent out
Sir,
for the same thing, what?
please take your seat.
Well, then, what is a council meeting for?
It's,
Don't
the
you
questions
want
that
me to
you,
present
sir,
ideas,
sir,
represent what
Sir.
people have to say?
no, every time you come to every meeting here, you ask the same questions that can be answered by our manager, and they
So,
all pertain to
that's-
basically,
then answer the question I just questioned. What are council meetings
Mr.
for?
Sanford,
Sir.
Mr. Sanford, public comment isn't a cross-examination. It's not even an opportunity to ask questions. It's an opportunity for the public to comment, not question. You can ask rhetorical questions, you do that, but it can't turn into a cross-examination of, did you consider this, did you consider that? What did you do here? Did you see what Wildwood did? Did you see what North Wildwood did?
So an exchange of ideas isn't a good thing.
I didn't say that.
Well,
but-
what you're
but-
saying is you're
but
saying
we're-
you're accusing
Mr.
me of-
Sanford.
Mr. Sanford,
Mr. Sanford,
I mean, you're
there's
the
a rule
solicitor.
here, there's a rule here. No, you listen to me
I
for a
understand.
second.
No, no,
Mr.
you're
Sanford.
supposed to listen to you
3
because I pay
minutes,
your
3
salary.
minutes of comment.
I'm talking to
Every
the
single
council, not to
meeting,
you.
every single meeting, you
You're right,
go
so I'm
beyond that.
dedicated.
You go beyond that. I'm not a potted plant here.
What?
I can comment if the Department of Community Affairs indicates that, particularly during COVID, they can limit the amount of time allotted to the public, and that's what they've done. They've passed a resolution indicating that the public cannot speak for more than 3 minutes. You go over it every single time, and council indulges it. You argued for 5 minutes here before you even got to your topic that you wanted to talk
I
about.
wasn't arguing with
You,
anybody. I
you,
was
you
exchanging
were.
ideas.
You were.
Sir.
The deputy mayor tried to cut you off 2 or 3
You're right.
times, and you talked right over.
So what I'm trying to say
Please take your
is
seat,
that
sir.
if I represent a group of people, I should be entitled to more
Then
time.
what you could do is write a letter to council, indicate who you represent, and ask for additional time at a particular meeting. Not come in here and just turn it into a free-for-all.
This isn't a free-for-all.
Uh,
Well, you may look at it because.
Mr. Sanford,
maybe you
please take your seat.
need told.
Sir,
Sir, just take your seat. We're done. Take your seat.
You're kidding me.
I'm not kidding you. Come on. They've asked you multiple times to take your seat. Can you take your seat? Thank you.
Unbelievable.
any members of the public here like to comment? Sir, please state your name and your address for the record.
My name is Michael Moss, live at 218 Spruce Avenue in the Village, and I just want to remind the council about the flooding in the Spruce Avenue. We were here a couple of years ago, and it's not changed. The one more quickly, the one outfall pipe the old pipe that's there runs as much water when it's cleaned out as the new pipe. My opinion, if somebody would repair that, it would relieve a lot of the problems.
This is Spruce Avenue, you said?
Yes. This is one of the, when you walked in a little bit late, and I repeated about the engineer, about Evergreen in that area. That all ties into that flooding area. We're right at the corner where the water's pumping down the road and then lands on the lot, and then the gentleman right next to it
Our
has,
house floods.
yeah,
As soon as they clean the storm sewers, it
it's.
comes right up in my backyard.
And that's one of the things, I brought the manager around before. He went around with the engineer last week.
Right.
We're trying to get this all resolved,
They were
and
supposed to put a check valve to stop that water from going
Coming.
back there. But what we've ourselves go down and clean the pipe out. When you clean the pipe out, the water gushes out of that old pipe. Now supposedly, that's not connected.
right, it was supposed to be
Water's coming from
disconnected
somewhere.
in, well, like 10 years ago, but that might be the object, is to put a new nipple.
And I
on
know
it.
there's an
It's still
issue
running.
with putting a new outfall pipe with permits. A couple lengths of pipe and a couple pilings would allow all that water to run out of there.
I agree with you.
Without going through the dune. The pipe's
It's,
there.
it's getting the DP, but we're going to see what we can do. That's why we had the engineer actually down there looking at it.
Well, the big pipe has that sleeve. and it doesn't let the water come out.
Right.
It's supposed to not let it go in, but it also doesn't let it come out. More water runs out of the old pipe.
Sir, if you can give me your name and number, I'll give you a shout tomorrow. Again, last Wednesday, I went down there with our engineer, who we brought on board this past January, and he is going to develop a plan for us to take action on some of these flooding issues in several places in Lower Township, including the area where you guys live. So, again, I could probably give you some more information once I speak to the engineer who's not present this evening, because we just met last week. I don't have a report in my hand on some of the issues that we have. We have some of the ones that have been identified recently that have happened for the past couple of years, but we're going to try and see how we can alleviate those
Our
issues.
backyard's starting to sink, getting holes in it from the water lays there so long. It's just making holes in where the pipe goes through. There's a pipe back there.
So it might be draining around it.
Is
Can
that
we
the one on
get
the back of the
Gary?
property?
That one, no, it might be, it's on the side street. Can we get Gary to look at the nipple down towards the end of Spruce also? Because if he's saying it's not opening, it might have, something might
What
happen.
block of Spruce is this?
I'm sorry?
It's on the
What
beach.
block?
At the 218, the very end.
We're going to get Public Works to go and look at that nipple also to see why it's not opening.
I mean, I'm sure that does what it's supposed to do. It just doesn't open enough to let, it's like a 2-foot drop from Bay Shore to the bay. No push on the water to open that thing up. An open pipe just lets it run.
Well, the open pipe, the problem with the open pipe is also people can climb in it, but that way if this, on storm surges, the water would come back in all the way.
Yeah, well, I'll live with the tide. This isn't the tide,
Yeah, well,
It's not the tide, the flood's the rain.
the insurance company and the DEP want the nipples on, that's the problem.
I know.
But we're going to have them look at it, because if it's frozen shut or something like that, and maybe we could get something done with the other one.
Yeah, well, like I said, if the check valve was in, it wouldn't let the street run back there, but it slows it just levels itself and it eventually runs out. I get 8 inches in my garage.
You got it, thanks.
Thank you.
My name is Jack Grady. I live right next door to Michael, 222 Spruce. We're talking about Victoria Lane. That's the sewer system we have here from the township. And like we said, for the last 3 to 4 years, we get water back there that comes through, and there's a telephone pole that's usually 2 houses down, winds up on my property from the force of that water. My neighbor across the street who got this for us, his name is Terry Pavlik. We ran a camera this week in the sewer system, and we know that from the backyard going to the bay is clogged. We ran a dye test from the street. The street's higher than my backyard. It goes down 2 feet and floods. His house gets about 2 foot of water in the back, in his property, in his, what was it, your garage? In his garage. So we've been asking for, what, 3, 4 years? 2. Well, we've been complaining for 4 with Gary. So I just want to bring it to the township. Do you need this?
Sure.
Okay. Because what you'll notice is that there's 4 other sewers back here in the yard. It goes nowhere.
Thank you.
Except for our yard. Thank you for your time.
I have your.
Thank you, sir.
I believe.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public have any comments?
Ray Fulkinger, Washington Boulevard, North Cape May. I just want to thank council and township manager for jumping on that problem with the, down there in North Cape May along the beachfront. And I brought it up last time and all, and they were down there today working, and they got all the way up to Washington Boulevard, coming from Emerson, from Lincoln Boulevard up. And I can see they parked the equipment down there on Emerson now, so they'll be going down there where the real part of a lot of it is and all. But thanks for approving the funds and getting on it right away, because as Dave says, we've been through this thing of working on pathways and all, and we hit the thing with the birds, and all of a sudden you got to stop. Not that they don't want to do it, but you can't do it. So it is critical to get it started, and in this way, at least they did push a lot of sand and all just along the beach and put it up there to Washington. There, we'll be able to see, because it's early in one respect as far as, gets to be about Memorial Day, and there's a lot of people, the month before coming down, and all, we'll see how it reacts, and hopefully we don't get no big storms with it and everything like that. But what they did there seems to be a pretty good job. Thank you again.
Thank
They
you.
should be finished that within a week or so.
Great. Okay, anyone else from the public? Nothing from Bill? Okay. All right, council comments. Councilman Conrad.
Well, they got the Fulling Mill roads open, which was a real blessing because Fishing Creek went first and then Fulling Mill, so it was real fun getting traffic around. As he said, about 2 weeks more for Bay Shore between Delhaven and us to be opened up. So right now, use Fulling Mill to get to 47. Foster House is being painted for anybody that's paying attention to that. We did cover engineers looking into different flooding areas. And the village access points for the beach are being done, and there's a couple other projects that are all getting ready to start, as the manager announced. And it's an exciting time in Lower. Stay safe. It's getting warmer. These kids are going to be out on the streets. Please be safe, because it's more light after school.
For sure.
Councilman Coombs.
Yeah, no, I'm just happy to see that the progress, well, it doesn't look real good right now, but the progress on Bay Shore Road is the county's getting through that. That's right where I live right now, so that's a little hassle with traffic as well. Also, I'm glad to hear that the beach replenishment thing is going on right away and getting taken care of immediately, so that's it.
Councilman Roy.
I have no additional comments, other than I just agree with the previous councilman's comments. I think they've covered a whole host of activities that are taking place, and I concur with them on the successes that they're making. Thank you.
Mayor Sipple.
No comment, Deputy Mayor.
Alrighty, I just have a few. Apparently, the county is on time with the two of the flood issues that they have. One on Breakwater Road, you can see some of the cement fixtures are in place there on the beside the roadway, ready to be installed. And the other one is on Town Bank Road by St. John of God Church, that flood area there. They have also moved in the concrete fixtures that are going to be installed there for those two drainage projects. And I know once Town Bank Road is done, that is on the schedule for sometime paving, either late spring or definitely in the fall. Other than that, that's all I have. I hear a motion to close.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.